morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are bringing you live the National Youth Parliament, the third of the kind, here at the Royal Suites Hotel in Bugorobi. For the ladies and gentlemen who are watching us live, and those online and those here present, we take the singular honor to welcome you and thank you for gracing this important National Youth Parliament, a parliament that brings young people from across the country to discuss important issues, legislative issues that affect them. My name is Primus Bahiji Atkwase, your moderator today, and I'll be working with James Okwi. We will only handle the first session, and the next session will be handled by the Speaker of Parliament after we've had the election of the Speaker. I would like to quickly first give a preamble of this National Youth Parliament we are holding here today on the 1st of August. Like I said, this is the third National Youth Parliament because the first one was held in 2018, the second in 2019, and this is the third. But because of the COVID situation, we've not been able to gather the 400 young people that we have always gathered in the national chambers of parliament because the parliament is closed and even the members of parliament are debating from the conference. But we decided to do regional parliaments, and we conducted 6 regional parliaments in Masaka, Mbarara, Fort Portal, West Nile, Arua, Guru, and Mbale as a way of gathering voices of young people to ensure that their voices are heard. And we are coming to you live from the Royal Suites here in Bugorobi with the partnership of NTV. We'll have a brief program, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we are going to start with anthem and prayer. We'll have presentation and introduction of the platform for youth inclusion in politics. We'll have the opening remarks from the national chairperson of the Youth Council, Dr. Lilian Abbey, and then the country director of Action Aid will welcome the EU ambassador. And that will usher in the speech for the Minister of Youth Affairs, Honorable Florence Nachuara. And then the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament will officially open this National Youth Parliament. So without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, I will request you to stand and we sing the anthems, both the East African and the national anthem. And then Kamakune, who is the Speaker of UNSA, will lead us in the opening prayer. Thank you.
Let's humble ourselves and pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for the gift of a new day. We thank you for the opportunity as young people in this country to be able to sit down and deliberate about issues that concern youth in this country. Father, we pray that as we deliberate, give us wisdom, give us understanding, and may everything we deliberate on be put into action by the implementers in this country. We thank you, we give you glory, and in the mighty name of Jesus, we have prayed.
Thank you very much. If you've just joined us online and on air, we are coming to you live from the Royal Suites Hotel, where we are undertaking the third National Youth Parliament. And before I invite the speakers, I will invite Doug James Okwi to brief the House on the parliamentary procedures and parliamentary rules, so that once the process starts, we are able to know the rules that we'll be following and be able to participate effectively. Ndugu James, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Primus, for taking us through this. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, the EU Ambassador, Mr. Xavier Ejoy, our distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and all the eminent persons here. You are warmly welcome to this third Youth Parliament, where young people are supposed to give their input on the laws of our country. We want to welcome those who have arrived here, but we also want to welcome those who are joining us online. To make sure that this process is as democratic as we wish all the world elections to happen and any kind of leadership, we have decided to make the process as transparent as possible. So today, we shall be honored to have a new speaker of the third Parliament of the Young People, elected by the young people. We don't want this to be exclusively done by the right honorables here present. We want the young people around the country to join us in this exercise. So unlike the previous elections, we expect the young people out there to cast their vote via Zoom, and the link has been shared. Those of us who are here will definitely cast our vote physically, or as well you can join on Zoom. We expect that we can nominate, based on gender balance, at least a maximum of four people, 4 young people. Now, the guidelines are very simple. You go on our Zoom link and you cast your vote at an appropriate time that we are going to announce shortly. So the speaker has to be elected by only members, honorable members. We have 500 young participants of the third parliament. Those are the only bona fide people to cast a vote. Some of us who are other eminent persons, please do not cast your vote. This is a young people's parliament. You can only do it if you are of between 18 and 30 years. So we are going to display the names of the candidates who have been nominated, and you will be able to see it on our Zoom immediately after nomination. We will be happy to have someone nominating and seconding, but also the person who has been nominated must accept and consent that you are happy to take up that task, because the position of the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament is not a position of favor. You must be articulate, you must be eloquent, you must be fair, and you must respect diversity. If someone does not give his consent, then we shall go ahead and nominate the next person. And after voting, we will announce who the Right Honorable Speaker of the third parliament is going to be. And immediately, we will expect them to retreat and dress up. The whole of our Ugandan parliament is here. They will dress up properly in an attire that is designated for the Right Honorable Speaker of the Ugandan Parliament. Then we shall also have the Chief Whip and other people join them in a procession, and we expect the Right Honorable Speaker and the Sergeant at Arms will lead them through this door. So as soon as we are done with elections, I expect them to step out to dress up. And this must be done in hardly 2 minutes because this is a live television event. After we finish counting the vote, of course, we will announce our Electoral Commission is already here, and whoever will get the majority vote will be definitely declared the candidate, and the clerk will take note of that because we are going to keep documenting our speakers. That's why we are honored to have the Speaker Emeritus of the Second Parliament is here to hand over officially, because we are here to nurture the talent of the young people. The Speaker will be expected to perform some functions that I want to take him or her through very fast. We should have done this earlier, but we don't know who the Speaker is most likely to be. So very fast, I expect that our Right Honorable Speaker, when we give you our powers, we expect you to open this session formally. We expect that you can suspend and close this sitting. So you are the one to close this sitting. You are supposed to maintain order in the House with all the decorum that it deserves. You must be the one to call members to participate in the proceedings. You should be the one to put matters to vote. When issues become controversial, people should be able to cast a vote. We want to show how we can deepen democracy in Africa. And then we can also expect you, once there are issues that are not resolved, because this is a live telecast event for 4 hours, if there are other pending issues, you as the Speaker should push some of the issues to the committees of Parliament. So make sure that by the end of this day, you are able to make those resolutions, because our actions must be taken up by the main Parliament of Uganda. We expect that all members should speak with decorum, respect. Everybody here is a honorable member of Parliament. So please address every speaker as honorable member of Parliament. We expect everyone definitely to speak English, unfortunately. So struggle to see that you have your interpreter around, just in case you are not proficient in English. We expect that we must manage time. The Speaker will give us time that he or she will allot to us depending on the time that is running, but try to be brief and precise. The Speaker should respect people who are differently abled. People who are differently abled is what traditionally we call people who are physically challenged. If a member cannot stand up because he or she is differently abled, please, the Speaker should allow him or her to speak while seated. But the rest of us, you must respect the office of the Speaker by standing up. Every member must be addressed as a honorable member, and the Speaker can easily allow the first precurrent persons to read their speeches. But please, we don't expect you to start consulting with your iPad at that point. So you have to really save us a lot of time. The mover of the substantive motion, he or she should be able to surrender his or her right if you are indisposed. Some of you are going to lead in some petitions, but in the event you are inconvenienced, you are free to pass it to the next person, because we don't want to lose out that in this conversation. Points of order, members can rise to a point of order anytime during the speech of a member, but by the time you rise, you have to be able to resume your seat if you are already on the floor. So you sit down. We don't want to see two people standing. This I'm guiding especially our colleagues who are out. Those who are out on our social media platform, on Zoom, you can always raise your hand, and I'm sure our team will engage you appropriately. We don't want to leave anyone behind. And then we don't expect the Right Honorable Speaker to participate in the debates. And finally, we don't expect you to interrupt anyone anyhowly. And yes, that privilege is all given to the Right Honorable Speaker. So that is briefly, for those who are going to be following us online, how our procedure is going to be. And those of us who are ex-official members, our other eminent persons here, please, we don't expect you to cast a vote. And you are more of observers. And then the commencement of these rules of procedure will begin immediately when the order of business begins. And the order paper will be laid by the Right Honorable Speaker, and quickly the Speaker shall determine the order of business. So that's how powerful the Speaker is. And then we are going to administer the oath after the election, where someone will abide by the rules of our country. And then finally, we will give this person the prayer. The prayer will be here. When we say prayer, in this case, it's not this prayer we have just conducted. There is a parliamentary prayer that is going to support the parliament. So we'll give you the parliamentary prayer that will be read by the Right Honorable Speaker. So friends, ladies and gentlemen, we want to sincerely welcome you to this third very important youth parliament. I want to confirm that our resolutions in the last parliament were all taken up very, very seriously by the Right Honorable Speaker. And we want to thank our partners. We want to thank EU. We want to thank Action Aid. We want to thank Restless Development and other partners that have enabled this to happen, and the convener, Faraja. At this point, I want to invite some of the members of our Electoral Commission to come closer, because we should be opening up now for voting both online. Mr. Primas, I expect all of you to come here. Primas, I expect part of our Electoral Commission. Are we already online? Okay, Mr. Primas, I expect you to help write the names of people who are going to be nominated. This is a very transparent process, and this is how we want our country to be. No coercion, but want the young people to be able to unleash their potentials, their full potentials. At this point, I want to open voting. You are free to nominate a candidate that you think is slightly better than you in managing this parliament. You can always stand up. You don't need to raise up your hand. I want to request someone to move the microphone, cordless mic. Kindly. Yes, if you can speak loud as the microphone comes. Introduce yourself and your constituency, sir. Honorable. So you will always stand up, introduce your constituency, that you come from Bukedia County, or you come from Koboko or Aleptong constituency. Please hand over the mic to the other gentleman. This is Parliament, and we are going to exercise democracy. Quickly, try to be very fast. We are running behind schedule. The Right Honorable Speaker is waiting to address us.
Thank you so much, honorable colleagues. Good morning. My name is Howard Mesigwa, the Youth Member of Parliament from Western Uganda, and I would like to nominate Honorable Alan Abenawe for Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Alan, can you stand up? Kindly clap for him. Are you happy to partake of that role?
I do.
Thank you. Anyone seconding? Anyone seconding? Okay, okay. Maybe you start from this lady.
Good morning, dear honorable members of this parliament. My name is Harono Michelle Caro, and I come from Nakawa constituency. I second the motion moved by my honorable colleague of Honorable Alan Abenayo being the speaker of this parliament.
Thank you. The second seconder.
Good morning, honorable members of parliament. My name is Nanyonjo Lynette, and I second the motion moved by my honorable member of Honorable Alan being the speaker of this parliament.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? The microphone here. Please, your name, very fast.
Honorable members and all the guests in the house, I'm Clifton Irahuka from Lira Municipality Constituency. I'm here to nominate Daniel Olara from Gulu. I've seen him for the past few years as a hardworking gentleman, as somebody who is well principled and likes to follow policies. He's an advocate for human rights, sexual and reproductive health, human rights. So if we are to vote here, please vote wisely. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Where is Honorable Omara? Please stand up. Kindly stand up. Are you happy to serve in that capacity as the Right Honorable Speaker of the Third Youth Parliament?
Thank you, honorable members. My name is Daniel Olara, and I wholesomely agree to serve in the third sitting of this parliament. Thank you.
Thank you. Any seconders? Anyone seconding the nomination? I think there is someone right there. Honorable Omara Orara, you can sit down.
Okay. Good morning, honorable members. My name is Gidudu Yusuf.
Honorable Gidudu Yusuf.
Coming in from Mbale Municipality, the Northern State Division currently. I do second the motion that Honorable Olara is our speaker of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. The second person seconding.
A very good morning to honorable members. I'm Honorable Court Gabriel from Gulu constituency, and I'm pleased to second the motion to nominate Honorable Daniel Olara for speakership.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Our friends who are online, please be free to prepare to vote. We have to get the best member of parliament for the third session. Any other nominations? Can someone move a motion to close further nominations? Is anyone nominating anyone? We must be as free as possible. Are there no ladies who can represent us in this capacity? SDG, we don't want to leave anyone behind. Remember, SDG 5 is about gender equity. I'll be happier to see a young, beautiful lady take charge of this house.
Thank you. My name is Kamakune Beatrice. I am the Deputy Speaker, Uganda National Students Association. I move a motion to...
You are Honorable?
Kamakune Beatrice. I move a motion to close further nominations for Speaker of today's Parliament.
Any objection or anyone seconding that? Yes.
Thank you. My name is Mombere Godson. I come from Kasese, Renzo region. I second the motion raised by Kamakune that we close nomination for the speaker of today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At that point, I want to invite all the candidates to come and tell us in 2 minutes their capacity. Utilize this microphone. Ndugu Primas, you call the first person. Just remain seated. Let him invite the first person.
Thank you very much, Ndugu James. And for those who have nominated, 2 people have been nominated. That is Aaron Abenawe and Daniel Orara. And we'll be giving them strictly 3 minutes to state their CV and why they think they'll be the best speakers of the 3rd National Youth Parliament. So may I invite Daniel Orara on the podium here to tell us why he thinks he's the best speaker to steer this scientific parliament forward today. Thank you.
Clap for him, honorable members.
Thank you. Good morning to you all. My name is Honorable Daniel Olara from the Gulu Eastern constituency. I have been passionate about debating and formulating policies for a good time. As my nominator said, I have been an activist in very many forums. I have been a judge in debates. I have actively involved myself in policy making at different levels. As I speak, I am the outgoing speaker for Students' Parliament at Gulu University. I have been able to do this role wholesomely and with fairness. And I believe when elected the speaker of this 3rd sitting of the National Youth Parliament, I will be transparent enough to all of you. I will ensure there is quality in deliberations. The debates that are always done in Parliament is well guided by the speaker. And I believe I have that capacity to guide this House to formulate the correct voices of the youth so that when we pass out the points, when the resolutions are raised out, they are exactly the voice of the youth. And I pledge to you, when you elect me as the speaker of this 3rd sitting of the National Youth Parliament, I will do my role wholesomely. Thank you so much.
You can resume your seat. May I invite Aaron Abenawe to also present himself and his credentials.
Your Excellency, the European Union Ambassador, the Emeritus Speaker, and the other honorables in the House, a very good morning to all of us. My name is Alan Abenawe Bwebare, and I am the Speaker of the Uganda Christian University Guild Government. I've also served as the Speaker of the Western Uganda Youth Parliament, and I am here to represent you as a Speaker of the National Youth Parliament. Now, the biggest question is, why should you trust me as your Speaker of the National Parliament? I am going to give you fundamentally 2 reasons why you should vote me and support me as a Speaker of the National Parliament. 1, experience. I have what it takes. I've been a speaker before, and I've represented the platform for youth inclusion as a speaker in Western Uganda. And that gives me a platform to represent you ably as a national speaker. 2, I promise you that I will be nothing but I will be an impartial speaker, a speaker who will actually guide the House for us to get those reasonable resolutions to be presented to Parliament as the youth. Please vote me. I'll be a youthful speaker for the National Parliament. My name is Alan Abenawe Bwebare. Thank you so much.
Big hand clap for him. Thank you, our distinguished honorable members of Parliament who have offered to take us through this 3rd Youth Parliament. And at this point, I want to invite all those who are following us via Zoom to start casting their vote. We have 2 candidates, and already the names have already been put online. We have put the names and the constituencies. For those of you who are already on Zoom, please make sure you start casting your vote. If we are going to vote on Zoom, I think to avoid double counting, if you can vote here, please do. If you don't have a smartphone, I think that's when we stand up and cast your vote. Because I'm already seeing, as they announced, some people who are already IT savvy have already started to cast their votes here. So please make sure you vote online. Those of you who are not standing online, who don't have smartphones, whose phones have developed a technical challenge, please kindly stand up. Our team will definitely be able to come up with the votes casted. I want to start with the first person, Mr. Primas. Can you announce the first name? And we should be happy to start the counting.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have just joined us online or just started viewing us, we are live at the Royal Suites Hotel and presenting to you the third National Youth Parliament. Just for us, and what is happening now is we are trying to get the speaker who will steer the National Youth Parliament forward. This National Youth Parliament is the parliament that happens on an annual basis that brings young people together from across the country to deliberate and discuss issues. We have been in partnership with the Parliament of Uganda for the last 2 sittings, and we continue to be in partnership because the resolutions made in this parliament are taken on by Parliament for further discussion and engagement. Once again, if you have just joined us, we are live at Royal Suites, where we are hosting the third National Youth Parliament. Ndugu James requested me to present you the candidates as the casting of votes is happening online. Allow me present to you Daniel Orara, and those who are supporting Daniel Orara, you raise up your hands and we will be able to count your hands and tally, and then we shall add on the votes which are coming online. So can we see supporters of Daniel Orara? Can we put up our hands, supporters of Daniel Orara, once again? Straight up. The supporters, you can put your hands down. Aaron Abenawe. Those in favor of Aaron Abenawe, hands up from the room.
Are you part of the voters? If you are ex-officials, please don't raise your hand. If you are not ex-official.
If you are an ex-official, please don't put up your hand. The hands are for young people.
If you are part of us, the voting, please come this side. Whoever is that side, we are not going to allow you to cast a vote. If you're a voter, please come this side. We beg. We have to be as transparent as possible.
You can step forward. If you are a voter, step forward, vote, and then you take your seat. But if you are a voter, be part of the audience and the parliament. So the two people, if you're not ex-officials, please step forward. And I request once again that those who support Aaron Abenawe, put your hands up. have 16. Can we get results for the people who have voted online? Once again, if you have just joined us or just tuned on your TV, we are bringing you live the third National Youth Parliament here at Royal Suites Hotel in Bugorobi. The National Youth Parliament 2020 is hosted by the Platform for Youth Inclusion in Politics. It is happening at a time when we have COVID-19, and that's why it is scientific in nature. We have a few people in the room, but over 250 young people online and others who are watching us live on NTV. We continue to encourage you, submit in your views, to share your discussion, because the views that will be debated will influence what is happening at the parliamentary level. I also want to continue thanking Parliament in a special way that has been a partner of the National Youth Parliament since 2018, and in a special way thank the Right Honourable Speaker Kadaga, who has been there for us from the first Parliament, and he will be joining us even today. I also would like to, in a special way, to thank the Minister for State Affairs, who has also walked the journey of the National Youth Parliament since 2018 with us, and we are also grateful. I'm very sure that he should be joining us in a very, very few minutes. The National Youth Council, we are grateful, and also amidst us is the head of delegation of the European Union, the partners, the development partners that have worked with the National Youth Parliament since 2018. Those of you who were there last year, also the same event was graced by the Deputy Ambassador, and today we are privileged to host His Excellency, the Ambassador of the European Union. The other development partners, Action Aid, Restless, WFD, thank you so much for the continued support. And of course, the mighty Young People's Organization that have continued to coordinate, Faraja Africa Foundation, Open Space, the YSED, and others. We thank you and we continue to thank you. Like I said, the third National Youth Parliament was unique because for the first time we had regional parliaments happening across the country. And we continue to thank the members of PIP and the regional conveners of the Platform for Youth Inclusion in West Nile, Arua, and Ndugu Moses, in Rwenzori, Ndugu Gonson, in Mbarara, Howard, in Mbale, Ulinzi Foundation, in Guru, Ugweta and the Guru cluster. We thank you and continue to urge you to continue amplifying the young people's voices. It is very, very important that we include young people in the planning and encourage them to participate, and that's why this third National Youth Parliament is in place. We are waiting for the online voting process so that we can be able to declare and invite and get to know the speaker who will lead us in today's historic third National Youth Parliament, which is also scientific in nature. We want to thank NTV for your partnership and for continuing to amplify young people. Once again, if you have just joined us and tuned in, we are bringing you live the third National Youth Parliament here at Royal Suites, Bugorobi. Are we having outcomes yet, Ndugu James?
Yeah, shortly we are going to project it here for purposes of transparency.
The results will be projected live on the big screen that you see so that we are able to know and believe that the process has not been rigged.
We are a transparent electoral commission, and that's what we want other electoral commissions hereafter to be.
And we are also showing that it is possible for young people and all citizens of the country in the diaspora to participate in the voting process in their own country, because technology has made it possible.
I'm not able to see very well. You who are on the screen, kindly use that microphone and tell us exactly as we see what is there. I seem to have a challenge to see the figures precisely well. Okay, according to what is portrayed on the screen, Mr. Alan Abenawe has 77. I think that's what is being shown on the screen. And Honorable Olara Daniel has got 60 votes cast. Together with the votes cast by the honorable members here physically present, Honorable Olara has 71 votes because there were 11 votes cast physically here. Honorable Alan Abenawe had 19 votes cast here. That brings it to a total of 96 against 71. At this point, we want to declare Honorable Alan Abenawe our duly elected Speaker of the National Third Youth Parliament. Congratulations. Now, I want to request him to immediately step out and dress up. This gentleman who is behind here is going to lead you with dressing up. Please kindly use the other exit and go and dress up.
That's how things happen, that when the voting happens, change immediately takes place. Congratulations, Aaron, upon that victory, but also I want to congratulate Daniel.
I want to also invite you to nominate our Sergeant at Arms, quickly. Okay, Sergeant at Arms, please move. I think we are done with that process. Sergeant at Arms, go and dress up.
If you've just joined us, ladies and gentlemen.
The two clerks, please go and dress up. The clerks, please dress up. You have 1 minute. I have been reliably told the Right Honorable Speaker is waiting to address us right now. So please, let them hurry. Kindly, our Parliament team, please make sure these young people are dressed up in a maximum of 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ndugu James. If you have just joined us once again or tuned in, we are bringing you live the Third National Youth Parliament at the Royal Suites. We have participants who are participating online via Zoom, and those of you who are watching us, we want to thank you for sparing your time to be part of this historic and important scientific youth parliament. So we'll be going straight away to our agenda as we wait for the Honorable Speaker, the clerk to take their seats. We'll be going straight into the program so that we are able to catch up with time, but also maximize the time that we have. Like you've heard, the Right Honorable Speaker is already online waiting to address us, and we'll be calling her to address us shortly. But we want to thank you, those who have voted. We want to thank you, those who have participated. In a special way, I want to thank Daniel Orara, who offered himself and for the strong support. You are a speaker in the making. Thank you and congratulations upon all of you. And once again, it is the culture of the Young People's Parliament that every year we vote a speaker. We do not encourage speakers who have participated to again participate. And it's on that note that I want to thank the previous speakers who championed and steered the first and the second National Youth Parliament. Right Honorable Winnie is here with us, and she will be handing over power at an appropriate time to the incoming speaker. She championed the second National Youth Parliament, and Ndugu Chokwijuka Alexander championed the first National Youth Parliament. So you may also realize that we have been gender sensitive and gender inclusive. As we say, this platform for youth inclusion in politics is an all-inclusive and all-encompassing platform, as one of the presenters will be saying. We continue to thank you and welcome you to the National Youth Parliament 2020. As we wait for the speaker and the clerk to dress and come in so that we continue with the session, I also want to retaliate and say that this platform and this parliament presents a very unique opportunity for young people. Article 38 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda clearly highlights that as citizens of Uganda, we have the right to participate and influence policy, both at national and local level. And it is such a platform that enables young people to influence policy at the national level through the parliament. And it's on that note that we continue to thank the unique and special partnership with the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, and in a special way under the leadership of Right Honorable Kadaga. When we reached her office in 2018 and presented this idea, she welcomed it gracefully and she has continued to support it. She has been there to launch the first, the second, and she will be commissioning or officially opening the third National Youth Parliament. Right, Honorable, I know you are hearing me. That is not something that we take for granted. We know that you have young people of this country at heart, and we continue to thank you for having the heart of young people and ensuring that we are part and parcel of the legislative process. In the same line, I would want to ask and challenge all young people across the country that we should be able to participate in legislative processes through the sub-county, through the district councils, because those spaces are created for us to articulate, air out, but importantly be able to ask for accountability, demand for accountability, and participate in the governance and inclusion, economic inclusion of this country. So for those of us who are here today, please take this opportunity when the order paper is presented, the issues that will be presented, to support them wholesomely. And it's on that note that as they'll be speaking about the platform for youth inclusion in politics, that the platform was formed. Cardinal to the pillars of the platform is the question of formulating a one young people agenda, not operating in silos. That's why this platform encompasses and brings together NYC, civil society, the Interparty Youth Platform, the National Debate Council of Presidents, the Guild Presidents, the young people in business, the social movements under one platform, so that as young people, we are able to have a common agenda, a common mission, because the challenges that face or that are faced by young people are similar across the country. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have just joined us, we are bringing you live the third National Youth Parliament from the Royal Suites of Gorobi. The third National Youth Parliament is hosted by the Platform for Youth Inclusion in Politics, and it is a platform that allows young people to articulate their issues, but also enables them, the issues, to be taken on by Parliament for legislation and inclusion in the legislative agenda in this country. We want to thank all the partners who have continuously supported this process, and in a special way, the European Union has been very, very vital in supporting this process. Action Aid International, Restless Development, Plan Uganda International, the Namayanja Foundation, Advance Africa and Ford, GIZ, and all those who have supported the young people. We cannot forget to recognize the young people's organizations, the young people's agencies that have been vital in ensuring that this platform is a reality. Faraja Africa Foundation, Open Space, Uganda Youth Network, the Interparty Youth Platform, UNSA, NYC, the ACDEG chapter, ULEAD chapter, and others, we are grateful for your efforts and ensuring that you champion the cause of young people. We continue to say that the young people form the majority of this country, and if anybody is planning without taking cognizance of the young people's population, then it is a tricky situation for you. But also to continue challenging ourselves as young people, that the future is for us to hold, the future is for us to determine, and the future is for us to fight for. Because the future belongs to us. And a number of legislative frameworks and documents have been put in place, both at the continental and the national level, for which we should be able to use to ensure that they are put in place and we are included in the legislative agenda of this country. Ladies and gentlemen, I will request us to raise up when the Minister of State for Youth Affairs enters. I know that she is already in the building. We will be given a signal when she comes in for us to take on the next session. Yeah, so I was talking about the important legislative agenda that we have before us as young people. I already spoke about the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. We have, ladies and gentlemen, let's stand up to welcome Right Honorable Nachwara, the State Minister for Youth Affairs, who will be gracing today's occasion. Honorable, you're highly welcome, and thank you for always being there for young people. Like I said, we can take our seats. Like I said, she was there in the first inaugural parliament, the National Youth Parliament of 2018. She was there in 2019, and here she is. So Ndugu James, if you allow me, without much ado, I will invite Emma to briefly give us a background and also introduce. We've been speaking about the platform for youth inclusion. Once again, if you have just joined us online, if you just tuned in NTV, we are bringing you live the third National Youth Parliament here at Royal Suites Bugorobi. Stay tuned to this program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Primus. The Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Aritwala Rebecca Kadaga, the State Minister for Youth and Children Affairs, Honorable Florence Nachiwala, the EU Ambassador to Uganda, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to briefly make remarks. This is the third National Youth Parliament. I do not want to stand in the way of young people deliberating on the national affairs of this nation today. So just allow me briefly to take this opportunity on behalf of ActionAid Uganda and the partners to make these brief remarks. My name is Xavier Ejoyi. I work as Country Director for ActionAid Uganda.
Hello.
We thank the partners for the youth inclusion, for the platform for youth inclusion in politics, Faraja Foundation, Restless Development, ActionAid, Westminster Foundation for Development, and a number of young people's organizations across the country that have continued to create a space for young people's involvement into the political processes of this country in making decisions. I am proud, as the country director of ActionAid, to be associated with the young people of this nation, and I want to say that we do not just recognize you as leaders of tomorrow, but as leaders of today. I also want to thank our partners in development architecture project that sought to popularize the African Charter on Democracy, Elections, and Governance across various countries on this continent. We've been working with young people to popularize this important commitment that the government of the Republic of Uganda made through the African Union to ensure that in this country, the standards of democracy, elections, and governance are upheld. I also want to thank other partners, the Democratic Governance Facility, the DGF, Ford Foundation, and the Danish International Development Agency through ActionAid Uganda. Platform for Youth Inclusion in Politics is an important platform for young people in this country to set the agenda for political participation. It is something that the young people, through their organizations and individuals and movements, have come to recognize that they deserve to take a central place in the political affairs of this nation. It is a non-partisan platform that draws young people from all political shades across this nation, and even those who do not necessarily identify with any political organization or party. And we think that it is an important platform to advance the cause of the majority of the citizens in this country. One thing that has come clearly, and that we hope that this participation through the National Youth Parliament is able to bring out, is young people taking the center stage in the affairs of the politics in this country. Their participation in elections and political processes, as you are aware, this season is ripe just for that encounter. That young people are able to influence policy and set the agenda for socio-economic and political as well as cultural development. It has often been said that young people only sit back and wait for others to make decisions for them. And yet the challenges that affect them really touch on each and every young person, whether it is employment, whether it is education, whether it is sexual and reproductive health, whether it is issues of human rights, whether it is the issues of livelihoods in this country. We think that the policy-making process can only be meaningful to the cause of young people if young people themselves set the agenda on what they want to see by either participating in the political processes, whether they're offering themselves for leadership, whether they're mobilizing themselves to vote and encouraging others to participate in the electoral processes, in decision-making, whether they're petitioning leaders. That is a space that young people can take in influencing the affairs of this country. We thank the government of Uganda and the Honorable Minister, through you, for the efforts that the government has made in ensuring that you provide for and listen to the voices of young people. We think that this is an important expression of identity with the cause of young people, and we think that you should continue to make that space open to ensure that young people's issues are picked up and addressed. I think as young people, I also challenge you not to relent, not to sit down, not to relax. On issues of employment, unemployment continues to be very high in this country. Issues of quality education, as I said, issues of sexual and reproductive health that affect young people, these issues need to be at the center of decision-making of the affairs of this nation. Young people, I encourage you not to settle for less. Quite often, you've come up with you've been offered a check for employment. This check has been returned to you and said, insufficient funds. You've been offered a check of education. This check has been returned and stamped insufficient funds. Today, even as you take the center stage in the national parliament and debate issues, I want you to encourage each other that you will no longer take a bounce check, that you will no longer take a check that returned to you with insufficient. How can that happen? This platform, I want to draw to a conclusion here. The National Youth Parliament, the third phase, provides an opportunity for this nation, for young people, to nurture their leadership skills and political participation in this country. Youth or young people are not leaders of tomorrow, but they are leaders of today. Tomorrow may not be for you. Today, you are a young person. Tomorrow, you might not be a young person. You all know one and
Yes, you can. You can proceed. Sorry for
Thank you very
the
much.
interruption.
Set the national agenda, including the agenda for politics in this country. I also want to say that elections that are around the corner presents an opportunity for you to take that center stage, for you by making a compelling case for the interests of young people, and secondly, that you need to be consistent in your engagement in the political discourse of this country in setting the agenda. As youth, you have a second, you do not have a second chance to be a young person. This is the opportunity that you need to take with open hands. And finally, I want to say that you should go in this for the long haul. Your participation in the national affairs of this country should go beyond elections that are coming. It should go to the day-to-day decision-making and policy-making processes. I want to thank you for this opportunity to allow you to participate in this third National Youth Parliament. I want to take this opportunity to invite the head of delegation of the European Union Commission in Uganda. Your Excellency, you're most welcome to present your remarks to this third National Youth Parliament. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. If you have just joined us or tuned in, we are bringing you live the third National Youth Parliament from the Royal Suites Hotel in Bugorobi. As Xavier was speaking, Dr. Lilian Abe joined us. Thank you, Dr. Liliana Bay, the the chairperson of the National Youth Council, and whom I'm duly aware that will also be representing the Minister for Youth Affairs, who just got an urgent call. So James would like to do some
Thank
guidance.
you. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, the Ambassador, I'm sorry that I've had to request you to get back to your seat. This is because our formal session is now beginning. Our Right Honorable Speaker that we're honored to elect is now getting into the House, and we expect that all of us, when the Right Honorable Speaker comes into the House, we expect that we all rise up until the Speaker will instruct us. Otherwise, we will definitely again do the national anthem, the East African anthem, and the Speaker will take us through the prayer. Sorry for the little inconveniences, but you are all welcome. At this point, we want to pass it over to the Sergeant at Arms.
Honorable speakers, honorable members, to the Speaker has arrived.
Anthems. Prayers.
Appointed the office of leaders and parliament for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with abundant favor those your servants whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in the land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant all they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just, faithful manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their church. Amen.
Communication from the chair.
Honorable members, you're all welcome to the third sitting of the Youth Parliament of Uganda this Friday, 14th August 2020. I take the pleasure to welcome you, and a simple guidance. The rules of procedure of the National Parliament also apply here. Please be mindful of the discussion that we're actually going to have, and let's use parliamentary language. Thank you so much. Clerk?
Speeches. The EU Ambassador, Xavier Ejoy, giving the remarks.
Thank you very much. The Right Honorable Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, the Honorable Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, the Chairperson of the National Youth Council, members and the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, young people of Uganda, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please accept the warm greetings of the European Union delegation and of the ambassadors of the European Union member states to Uganda. It is an absolute pleasure and a great honor for me to participate in this third sitting of the National Youth Parliament. Let me express my deep appreciation to all of you who have come here today in person to have an open and constructive exchange of views at the third National Youth Parliament, and also to those who are joining us online or following the discussions on the TV or on the radio. The COVID-19 pandemic has made it much more complex to organize events like this one, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful that the organizers have managed to do it, albeit in a slightly different format than in previous years. I'm delighted that for the second consecutive years, the European Union delegation is able to participate in this event. Many thanks indeed for inviting us. I wish to take this opportunity to express my deep appreciation to the Parliament of Uganda, which, under the leadership of the Right Honourable Speaker, ensures that young people in Uganda are accorded a space to participate in the legislative processes as part of their civic rights enshrined in Article 38 of the Uganda's Constitution. I also wish to thank our partners, especially ActionAid Uganda and Farage African Foundation, for their contribution in preparing today's event, which enables young people to participate in democratic governance processes. Such participation is so important, especially this year, as many young people in this youth parliament are standing for electoral position. I also congratulate young Ugandans for having held 5 successful regional youth parliaments. Some of them, I understand, were held digitally. And I'm encouraged to hear that the recommendations of the regional youth parliaments will feed into the resolutions of this year's National Youth Parliament. Coming to the substance, I will profit of this event to raise few issues, ask few questions, and share with you few ideas which I hope will help your discussions and deliberations. 2 days ago, we celebrated the International Youth Day, which in 2020 focuses on youth engagement for global action. Engagement of youth in local political mechanisms and in global themes challenging humanity is absolutely crucial. And the event organized today in Uganda fits perfectly well in time and in scope with the objectives and the theme of this year's International Youth Day. Indeed, the topic of the third National Youth Parliament is fully aligned with the theme of the 2020 International Youth Day, and is also relevant to the Sustainable Development Goal number 16, which aims at ensuring peace and justice and strong institutions. These are important issues for Uganda as the country prepares for national elections. We all know that young people are the future of a country, and with nearly 4 out of 5 Ugandans under the age of 30, we could safely say that Uganda has more future than almost any other country in the world. We certainly agree with this, but we need to go deeper and challenge the view that youth only matters for the future. In fact, young people are already here. The young people of Uganda represent the future, but even more so, they are the present of this country. Young people in Uganda and everywhere in the world have a voice, need services and opportunities, and they need them today, now, and not tomorrow. It is important, therefore, that decision makers ask themselves if they are just talking about youth or they are actually listening to youth. For instance, the Ugandan Constitution stipulates a number of duties and rights for every Ugandan citizen, youth included. But do we allow the young people to fulfill their citizenship, duties and rights, and to enjoy their rights, such as to exercise public power in accordance with the Constitution, to participate to regular, free and fair elections, to defend the Constitution, to contribute to Uganda's political, economic and social independence. With many Ugandan youth living in rural areas, what chances do they have of getting involved and informed and to exercise their civic rights and duties? Do they have these opportunities in normal times? And what about during COVID-19 times? How can young, unemployed and vulnerable individuals be protected from electoral political exploitation and co-option into group serving only parties and political interests rather than the needs of youth and of the country? With the commercialization of electoral politics, how can youth, who are often financially disenfranchised, participate meaningfully to elections? During this National Youth Parliament session, you, young people gathered today here, you will be issuing resolutions to be subsequently discussed by the 10th Parliament of Uganda. This is a unique opportunity to make your voice and the logic of your arguments to be heard, debated and understood by experienced politicians coming from all over Uganda, coming from all over the country. They represent and serve the people of Uganda, and they will one day be replaced by you. In preparation of that day, you must ask yourselves already now if you, as youth leaders, are listening to the voices of the young electorate, creating a space to debate and to address the issues affecting the average young Ugandan, and if you are sharing with them what you know, what you see, and what you want for the overall good of this country. Issues such as teenage pregnancies, school dropout, unemployment, sexual harassment, gender-based violence, quality of education and skill creation, corruption, environmental conservation, climate change, etc., should not be forgotten in your discussions in favor of topics such as elections, which might seem more urgent today. It is important also to place the work that you do, as well as the European Union support to the engagement of youth, young people on democracy, human rights and good governance in the broader context of the African governance architecture project implemented in Uganda by ActionAid, by the way, and in the context of the Africa Union Agenda 2063. The latter, in particular, should be a centerpiece of your efforts as it pursues the vision of building up an Africa with strong democratic and human rights institutions, strong mechanisms for managing leadership transitions, and for an Africa being a strong global economic player with empowered young people. Madam Speaker, members of the National Youth Parliament, allow me to take this opportunity to mention the African Charter for Democracy, Elections and Good Governance. If implemented, this charter would be vital to transform Africa's democratic governance path to attain Vision 2040, the Africa Union Agenda 2063, and also the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 16. I strongly encourage Uganda to ratify this charter, to better and faster achieve the noble and ambitious goals set up by African leaders for Africa. As I conclude my remarks, I wish to urge you young people present today to walk the honorable path leading to creating a corruption-free Africa in which leaders lead, but also serve people, reject corruption, and do not abuse of their power. Young people can succeed where many of us have failed. The European Union will continue supporting the democracy, human rights, and good governance agenda in Uganda, but also other broader issues such as combating climate change and environmental degradation, which is a global problem for the humanity, in an effort to help ensure a better future for all Ugandans. Thank you very much to all.
Thank you so much, the European Union Ambassador, That was a powerful speech. And to all of us who are vigilant, I think we are going to walk an honorable path, as he actually stated it. And as we are all here, let us use this unique opportunity as a youth to present our views to the Parliament of Uganda so that we can actually get the answers that we desire. As a youth parliament, we have to present a petition to the Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Alito Arakadaga, who is not here with us, but the Right Honorable is attending via Zoom, and she has actually been represented by the Minister in charge of youth. I believe the Minister is also here. I believe the Minister is here. So we are going to actually welcome the person who is going to present the petition to the Speaker of Parliament of Uganda. Clerk.
Presentation of the petition to the Speaker of Parliament of Uganda.
Thank you so much. If I may guide, we are going to pause the presentation of the petition as we welcome the National Youth Chairperson. Honorable member on the podium, you can please take your seat as we welcome the National Youth Chairperson.
Honorable Speaker, the EU Ambassador, all the partners present, the young people, and the creme de la creme of the young people present here, I salute you all. Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate yet another youth parliament taking place today. Right Honorable Speaker, congratulations and thank you for having a wonderful parliament today. Right Honorable Speaker, indeed, it's a privilege and it's an honor when young people come together to exercise their noble rights and participate in exchanging views and shaping the future of this country. On behalf of the National Youth Council, I would like to say thank you once again to all the partners who put resources together to ensure that this day comes to pass. Thank you very much. The National Youth Council is the apex of the youth leadership in this country, and the National Youth Council has got structures up to the village level. And as I speak to you now, Right Honorable Speaker, the structures of the National Youth Council is being elected. And I'm happy to note that this time round, the participation of the young people has tremendously increased. And the young people are very active in taking part in politics. I am very, very happy to note that, Right Honorable Speaker. I will also want to say that probably we would associate these achievements with the engagement of the young people coming in to attend the Youth Parliament every year. This is indeed a good remark, a good achievement to note. The National Youth Council's role is to mobilize the young people across the entire country to do advocacy on behalf of the young people. Also, protect the young people from any form of manipulation. The National Youth Council as well sensitizes the young people about available opportunities around so that they can benefit. Right Honorable Speaker, today we are yet celebrating the belated International Youth Day under the theme Youth Engagement for Global Action. Indeed, it's a timely theme for Uganda. Uganda being the highly most populated country with the young people. In fact, Uganda is second in the entire world, having the youngest population. Therefore, it is not only a privilege, but good advantage for our country that if all these positive energies and the numerical strength is channeled through meaningful engagement, we would be able to attain the status that we are looking at, which is a middle income status. Looking at the participation in politics. Right Honorable Speaker, I noted earlier that this time round, there is a boost in participation of the young people in politics. Today, quite a number of young people have picked nomination forms in different political parties for different positions, LC5, members of parliament, all across. And this is something which is very good. And I pray that the young people out there support those who have taken the mantle to participate in politics. And I also encourage those who have interest in joining other structures to please do so. It is only when you are seated right on the high table discussing your issues that your issues will be heard. We always say there is nothing for us without us. Nothing for the young people without the young people. So I'm very happy that I've seen young people are taking part in politics. But I also want to note that however much we are taking part in politics, we don't need to be engines of violence during this political time. I want to call upon the young people not to be used as tools of violence. Indeed, you will be putting your life at risk. As a young person, you are empowered. You have the numbers, and you can have a collective voice to channel your opinion, but not to be used to be victims of violence. Indeed, it would be absurd. However, you would focus on looking at who has got the right manifesto for the young people and has got the interest of the young people captured. Right Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, I would like to note the need for the young people to fully engage in entrepreneurship. A poor young person is vulnerable. A poor young person is frustrated. A poor young person will lose track. And indeed, a youthful age is a very strong age that you are desperate for everything. But I want to call upon those who have gone to school and those who have not gone to school, that entrepreneurship, being innovative, taking advantage of the available opportunities and the government programs in place are the way to go. Make sure you have at least something to earn you a living in order to have a say even in the community. Finally, the Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of mindset transformation is yet another issue that we will have to address as young people. The issue of give me and I take is a challenge that is affecting all of us. We have become lamentators left and right. But I want to assure you that you are full of a future. You are full of everything that you can get. It starts by your mindset. You transform your mindset and believe in yourself that it's only you that can answer your questions. It's only you who can provide answers to your questions. Then we will together build a future for this country. And I want to say this, that the future of this country is very bright, but only and only if young people channel their numerical strength and their positive energies in ensuring social, economic transformation of this country. Thank you very much. I say this for God and my country.
Thank you so much. The chairperson, National Youth Council, that was lively, and it is actually our own mandate that we should encourage our young people to support fellow young people. I'm getting communication from the team that right now we are actually welcoming the Right Honorable Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, and the National Youth Chairperson is actually going to do that for us. We are waiting for the connection from the Zoom team. As we are waiting communication from the team, please stand notified that we are live on air. So be conscious of what you do and what you discuss here. We are also live on all the social media platforms. Please take the mantle to notify the other youth out there about the discussions that we're actually going to be having here. Communication from the Zoom team also indicates that we are going to be there, so we need to be a little bit patient as they are trying to work out. I believe we are going to be having the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament any minute from now. And this is also the time that we should also be notified that as a youth, this is a time we need to be notified that as a youth, we actually have a big role to play in nation building. And this is actually our time. Our time is not tomorrow, our time is today. And for that matter, let us take up the mantle and work to actually achieve and see the Uganda that we want and desire for everyone. Clerk, you can take us through the order paper as we actually waiting for the connection to have the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament. Clerk.
On our order paper, we shall have a motion on matters of young people's participation in the upcoming electoral processes. We shall also, that motion will be moved by Honorable Clifton from Lila constituency. We shall also have motion on the need for government interventions for young entrepreneurs and startups that have been affected by COVID-19 disruptions. The motion on matters relating to increased cases of sexual violence against young people, especially during the COVID-19 lockdown, shall also have motion on the fate of learners and students amidst the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you so much. To be guided, the movers of the motion, please be mindful of the time that you will be given. We need to also understand that after a move of the motion, after he or she moving the motion, we will also need secondments for it to be debated on the floor of Parliament. From the secondments and the debate, then we will have to call back the move of the motion to actually come and move a resolution of that motion. And as the House, we will then have to take a vote on whether to adopt the resolution from the motion or not. Be mindful of the time for the people who are moving the motion. We are going to allocate you each 3 minutes, and for those who shall be debating on the motion, you'll be given 1.5 minutes for you to come and debate on the motion.
Of Uganda.
The Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Rebecca Litwala Kadaga, who is here to join us on Zoom. The Honorable State Minister for State, for Youth, the Honorable State Minister for Youth and Children's Affairs, Honorable Florence Nachiwala, the Chairperson of National Youth Parliament, Your Excellency, the EU Ambassador, all dignitaries present, a very good morning to you. I am by the names Honorable Gabriel Okot Olua, a Member of Parliament representing Gulu constituency. I'm beginning on a point of a quote from Kofi Annan, the former Secretary General of UN. He stated that no one is born a good citizen and no nation is born a democracy. Rather, both are processes that continue to evolve over a lifetime. Therefore, young people must be included from birth. A society that cuts itself from the young people is severed and condemned to bleed to death. The petition by the young people to the Parliament of Uganda, moved under Rule 30 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament of Uganda, through the Right Honorable Speaker, Rebecca Litwala Kadaga, the humble petition of young people of Uganda, members of various focused civil organizations, youth leaders, activists, and student bodies. The subject of this petition relates to issues that affect young people of Uganda in their various demographic classifications, documented from the regional youth engagements and consultations. Recognizing that the Parliament of Uganda, under your leadership, has made strides in legislation for youth-responsive laws, such as the Minimum Wage Bill, the Local Content Bill, and policy issues concerning sexual harassment in institutions of higher learning, and many more. Aware that there are several issues that still hold young people's political, economic, and social participation and progress back, including but not limited to unfavorable tax policies for youth business and limited support for innovations and startups, commercial sex exploitation of young women, and employment. Furthermore, commercialization of politics limits political participation and representation of young people, worsening the issue of exclusion and marginalizing in key decision-making processes. Your Right Honorable Speaker, noting that a series of 5 regional youth parliaments were convened in August 2020 to debate and discuss issues that are pertinent to the affairs of young people in the country, and a basis upon which this petition has been moved. Now, therefore, the humble petitioners pray that Parliament debates and adopts the motion by Honorable Winnie Kiza urging the government to ratify the African Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance as a key step in facilitating effective representation of young people in the political and governance spheres of Uganda. Secondly, Parliament tasks the government through the Electoral Commission to establish a stringent policy regulating the use of finances by candidates and their agents during campaigning and voting. That the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs expedite the consideration of Sexual Offences Bill of 2019 for onward submission to the House. The fourth, increased funding under the health and education sectors for sector and reproductive health to address the increasing cases of teenage pregnancies and hygiene and health. Right Honorable Speaker, Parliament through the relevant committee makes recommendations to the government to address matters of poor business framework conditions for youth entrepreneurs and exploitative taxes by reducing taxes for youth venture startups. Parliament urges the government to create stimulus packages to support young entrepreneurs and young people's ventures that have been affected by coronavirus, termed as COVID-19 disruptions. Parliament urges the government to create a standalone ministry for youth affairs for effective coordination of youth policies, interventions, and programs. Your Right Honorable Speaker, this has been the petition by the youth of Uganda through your office, the government. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the Right Honorable. Yeah, he deserves a hand clap because what he has presented were resolutions of a different youth from different regions of this country. These views and recommendations were arrived at from the different youth regional parliaments that we had from Western Uganda, Eastern, Northern, and finally here for the National Parliament. To all those who have not appended their signatures, if you have the petition that has been presented to the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, behind there is a list that requires for signatures of the petitioners. please feel free to append your signature on the list, because these are actually resolutions from the youth, and I believe that you fall within that age group. Communication from the Zoom team. I don't know how far we are, but as we actually wait for the connection, clerk, we are actually going to move on to the order paper.
Motion on matters of young people's participation in the upcoming electoral processes. Moved by Honorable Clifton Frahuka from Lira constituency.
Honorable Clifton Frahuka from Lila constituency, you're welcome.
Dear honorable members and invited guests in the house, I welcome you all and greet you in the name of the Almighty. I am Irahuka, Honorable Irahuka Clifton from the constituency of Lira, and as I'm going to move the motion on matters of young people's participation in the upcoming electoral processes, I would like to say just a brief statement or give 3 justifications. To begin with, you'll realize that the current parliament still actually maintained the nomination fees for example, the member of parliament at 3 million. So as the youth, we feel that this is too high, especially for those who are eligible to aspire for that position, but are just starting to develop themselves and have not yet earned big enough to actually put that money away for nomination. Also, you realize that in Article 59, subsection 1 of the Uganda Constitution of 1995, it requires one to attain a minimum age of 18 years to be registered as an eligible voter. And a study shows that over 3,800 Ugandans or young people turn 18 every day. And you realize that the voter registration process in Uganda ended in November, December 2019. What does that mean? We see that the constitution of Uganda seems incompatible with the country's reality on the youth demographics. So we feel that over 1 million people are who will have turned 18 by the time of election and are eligible to vote will have missed out an opportunity to actually cast out their vote. So since the biggest percentage, that is over 75% of the people in Uganda are youth, we feel that it is going to create such a big significant impact on the election outcomes because they will have been denied a chance to cast their vote. And you realize that in addition to physical intimidation, which has actually been a commonly used tactic in the elections and politics of Uganda, the electoral system is now, the Electoral Commission is now using the electoral system itself to suppress youth voting, because if I've not managed to register and you claim that I have to be 18 and there is a difference of a year plus before the election date, that means that you've technically eliminated me from casting my vote even when I am eligible. And then lastly, Uganda, through the parliament, the 10th parliament, has failed to ratify the African Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance, which is one that provides and advocates for fair and just elections, including for the youth. So this is a sign of neglect of policies
that allow for inclusive politics and meaningful participation of the youth. So, as the 2021 elections are coming forward, it has piqued interest in millions of citizens, the young people in Uganda, because of the arising youth-related controversies. But I would like to urge the youth that whatever the outcome of the vote, Uganda's youth should try to maintain and support strong advocacy campaigns on the absence of youth-friendly electoral laws, or at least modernize the existing ones, such as adjusting on the voter registration. So to stimulate a mindset shift in the favor of the young people, we should tirelessly actually insist on increased visibility of the young people in electoral processes, especially elections that are coming forth. So that is one of the reasons as to why I'm proposing this motion for God and my country.
Thank you so much, Honorable Clifton from Lila. I am actually calling for secondments to the motion. Is it worth being debated on the floor of Parliament? If you're seconding the motion for debate, I expect the team to have a microphone that is moving so that those who are, please, for a meantime, you can.
Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues, my name is Howard Mwesigwa, the Member of Parliament from the Western Region, and I would like to take a singular honor to second the motion that has been tabled before this Honorable House by my colleague, Honorable Clifton, in light of Rule 47 of the Rules of Procedure of this House. And I'm fortified by two fundamental factors. Firstly, as reiterated by the chairperson of the National Youth Council, that indeed the youth in this country play a fundamental contribution or a fundamental role in the socio-economic and political progress of this nation. And we all agree that there can't be anything for us without us. So in light of that first facet, it's important for us to deliberate that particular motion. But secondly, over and above, when you consider the demography or the population distributions in this country, and looking at the census generally from 2010, 2014 to date, you realize, honorable colleagues, that indeed, even in the numerical context, the youth are the major stakeholders. So in light of that very fact, and also being alive the fact that we have been marginalized based on fundamental factors, one of them, as highlighted by my honorable colleague, is the fact of the nomination fees. That many of these youths have come from tertiary institutions, and some have not even made their way there. So they've not been in the corporate world for a long time. So they've not gotten the time to accumulate some of that wealth that is required. So we need to also deliberate and make our opinion on that very fact known. So based on those two fundamental facets, I would like to take this opportunity, pursuant to Rule 47 of the Rules of Procedure of this Honorable House, to second that motion. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable Howard from the Western Region. Secondment.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker of this Parliament. My name is Mumbere Godson from the Rwenzori region, specifically Kasese district. I'm here to second the motion that has been presented by Honorable Cliff on young people's participation in the upcoming electoral processes. We are all aware that Uganda's population, young people take about 70%, and the other 30% is left for the young children and the elderly. It is quite unfortunate that the 10% who could be the elderly have taken on the mantle for quite some good time, leaving the young people. And the time is now, not tomorrow, not the other day, not next week. the time is now, that young people have to step up and take the mantle. It is really quite unfortunate to see that for a long time, young people have been used as bridges for other people to cross. Young people have been used to hang posters for those other people. In so many districts in this country, young people have been used to hang posters for the MPs, for LOC5, and after these people have succeeded, these young people are abandoned. It's really absurd, and it is my humble appeal this time that as young people of this country, we need to come up and take responsibility and take charge of this country. I beg to submit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mumbere. We are only going to have 2 people to second the motion, and then we will allow those who have submissions or those who actually want to debate on the motion. So the motion stands seconded, and I'm therefore calling for submissions. My worry or my question is, if we are saying that the youth are the 77% of the population, then what is wrong? We are 77%, but the 10% has continuously used us to actually achieve what they want. So where is the problem? If we are saying that we need young people to actively participate in the elections, what has been the status quo? What has stopped them from actually actively participating in politics? What is that major problem that we need to tackle? So I'm allowing submissions. Submissions? Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Nalukwago Judith. I'm the Vice Guild President, Makerere University. Youth participation in politics. What hinders the youth from participating in politics? One of the points is monetization of politics. We, the youth, like Honorable Howard said, as we are from tertiary institutions, most of us have not made it to that level of having the amount of money that is being used in the modern politics of Uganda. So we face stiff competition from the people who have been in this arena for a long time. So we find it difficult to have the same money or have a leveled ground for the same competition like our counterparts in the field. So if we have that problem, how do we solve it? As a young person, I think the parliament should come up with a way to regulate the monetization of politics. Like an amount of money a member of parliament is supposed to put in a political position, to be elected in a position, or a president, or even local governments, so that even the youth can be able to engage actively in the politics. The other issue is about mentors. When these people, the elderly in politics right now, were at my age, in the universities and also in high school, they had mentors who trained them in the arena of politics. Most of them were debating more than what us, the young people of this generation, are debating. Most of them had the platforms to grow, to be able to fit into the political shoes, into the shoes of the adults. But right now, you see us young people, the debates we give are not substantial to convince the voters out there to put us in these elective positions. That is why the elders have remained in these positions, because us young people have not been given that mentor. We don't have that information that is required for someone to be in such an elective position. We don't have that, the whole package a person needs to be in that position. So one is we should put up more platforms. Yes, many non-governmental organizations have helped in bridging this gap of information in the young people, but also the government has to come up with a way of helping us, the young people, to be able to get the information, to be able to fit in the shoes of our fellow politicians. Thank you so much. Those are my views.
Thank you so much. The honorable. Submission, yes. Meanwhile, the team should prepare because we are also going to be taking submissions on Zoom. There are people who are ready to present on Zoom. So hope we are ready.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, fellow honorable members of parliament from different regions. You see, we should agree that the participation of youth in Uganda is already stricken. It is lame and it has been paralyzed. One thing we should all agree is that there is very limited space for the youth to engage at national level. But does not take the fact that at regional levels or at village levels, there are also other hindrances of the youth to participate. I'll mention a few. It has been moved already by Honorable Clifton, but I'll give a few remarks about it. Number one, my sister just talked about commercialization of the politics. The nomination fees required for a youth to contest at various levels does not match with the amount a youth earns in a day. How do you expect a youth to equally participate in elections when they cannot afford such? Secondly, we've seen intimidations all over the country. The elderly people, the ones in power, always tend to sit down on the youth who rise up. I want to throw more light on what my sister talked about patronage. Ladies and gentlemen, in Uganda, we completely lack patronage of the youth. If you only have patronage, then it's in a kangaroo style, I can say. Because they fear that the moment you patron, you nurture a youth, they will come and step over you. This is a problem to the country. And we think as the youth that if this can be corrected, then we shall have fair grounds to compete, then we shall have fair grounds to air out our views at the national level. Ladies and gentlemen, civic knowledge still lacks in our country. Just 2 weeks ago, personally, I participated, I am still participating at the local level, the special interest, the youth elections. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, when I went down to sensitize the youth about this, they knew nothing, totally nothing about the interest group elections. That means that there is still more that the government has to do. They still need to be employed on how these things go about. That civic knowledge still needs to be instilled in this youth. Ladies and gentlemen, as a way forward, I think that the Parliament of Uganda, under the leadership of the Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, can always pass a resolution and formulate policies to control how politics is done, to control the use of money, commercialization. It needs to favor the youth at their different levels. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, I urge the youth, from wherever you are, it is our time. It does not start from you being the president or the member of parliament. It starts from you being the leader from home. The LC's level, trust me, I have very good evidence of our councillors at the district level who cannot write their names. They struggle to make oath during swearing in. These are positions that as the youth, we need to take it up. Building a nation does not start from up. It starts from down. So I urge us as youth, as we vie for the national positions, remember home. Building a home starts with down. Ladies and gentlemen, as I rest my case, I still feel that there is room for us, the youth, to take the country. Just like any other person said, we are the future of this nation, and it's only when we stand up that we shall achieve this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes, submission.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. All protocol observed. My name is Tukahira Maureen, and I'm here as a member of the Youth Coalition for Sustainable Development Goals. Right Honorable Speaker, you asked, even when we are 78%, what is the challenge? Why are we not being represented? And I'm here to present to you that we still have a big gender gap, and that is SDG 5. However much we are 78%, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to assure you that 54% are women. But when I came in this room, I have been seated there for some time, and we could count a number of women voices that has been presented in here. We need more women voices. We need to work together. I want to re-echo the voices of Her Excellency, Ms. Rosa Malango. She said, we have to have youth and women. Not only youth, but youth and women need to work together. We need to honor and we need to recognize that women are the majority, even in the population of the youth. So, thank you so much. That is my submission.
Thank you so much. The submission is about empowerment of young girls for them to also ably compete. I am going to take you for the submission as we cross to people on Zoom.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I'm Honorable Harono Michelle Caro from Kampala District. And Honorable Speaker, I'll start with the question you posed. We have the biggest number of the population in Uganda, which is 78%. But what is stopping young people from participating in leadership positions? There are a few factors that are hindering us, and one of them is lack of leadership skills. I participated in the recent nomination exercise of National Youth Councils, and trust me, we were delivering nomination forms house to house, door to door. Young people were not even interested. Those that are interested don't even know the positions that are there to contest on. Even those that were nominated, if we were to disqualify them, we would have disqualified almost 80%. So there was need for government and electoral commission to come out and help young people and at least pass some information on the ongoing leadership positions, because most young people don't have information on them. There is need to promote great accountability of leaders at all levels, such that we interest young people who want to take up leadership positions. We've not accounted to young people at all levels. There was no accountability. People in local government don't account. People in National Youth Council don't account where I fall. People in parliament don't even account to their constituencies. So it hinders most young people to pick interest in contesting. There is limited accountability. I've mentioned that. There is limited understanding of ongoing political processes. I call upon, on this matter, we need political parties to also take part in mobilizing young people, because most young people fall under political parties. But political parties have not done enough in mobilizing young people to participate in these processes, and civil societies as well. We need them to come out and mobilize young people to take part in the ongoing political processes. Then there is need to strengthen capacity of young people and youth leaders to participate more meaningfully and continuously in governance. For example, if we are formulating policies, most young people are always invited to participate, but we also need to be consulted when formulating policies that are for young people. We need to be consulted at all levels of policy formulation. We need to be part of the implementation, not only to participate as beneficiaries in such programs. Then there is increased understanding. We need to increasingly understand specific youth issues
a need for meaningful youth participation in multi-party democratic dispensation to enable other young people take part even in political party leadership at all levels. The Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Thank you so much. Do we have submission? Yes. Submission? Yes. Can we avail the microphone? We need a microphone here. Can we please avail her with a microphone?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and every honorable at large. Honorable Samai Luka, voicing on the behalf of youth with disabilities. All these problems, challenges that you've mentioned about that hinder the youth to participate in elections are actually tripled or doubled when it comes to disability fraternity. A number of colleagues with disabilities are stigmatized right from their families and community at large. With the stigma they come to face, that is either doubled or tripled, they find it not useful to participate or get involved in elections. And another point is inaccessibility. You find that based on the disability categories we have, you find that the information aired out is again inaccessible to a number of youths with disabilities. For instance, now the deaf, we have the blind, and so on. You find that those with the physical disabilities cannot move along to areas where these activities take place because of the inaccessibility. So if the information is made accessible in all forms to favor different disability categories, then we shall find the youth getting seriously involved. And also if you can help us out there to fight stigma among these people, that you speak out courageously to them such that they can also find themselves somewhere in actively participating in developing their country. Let's together fight stigma. Let's encourage these people with disabilities to look at themselves as capable members of the country so that we can all participate without leaving anyone behind. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are turning to people on Zoom. We have Honorable Musoke Martin. As they're actually connecting him, yeah, I'm going to have you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Well, I think the reason as to why most youth are not included in this is because if we make up the 70% of the population, then why are we only having representatives? I mean, we should be the ones there, because if the 30% are there, that means they don't make up the largest percentage of the population, so they are trying to deliberate on the issues that affect us as the youth. So we need more slots for the youth, and not just because we are young, but because we make up the largest percentage of the population. And also, I think when it comes to the youth giving their opinions, we should not just be brought on board to give our opinions, because if we give the 30% our opinions As in, what are they going to do? Because I believe they're also catering for themselves. So if we have a large percentage of the youth on board and not just giving opinions because we don't know how far they will take our opinions, or because we always have issues that are changing. So if you hold an event once a year like this for us to bring our issues, I mean, last year we didn't have COVID-19, but this year it's there and we have new issues coming up. But then you want us to give you our issues right now, but we know that other things might evolve. We don't know if there's another pandemic that will come up, but then you want to deal with an opinion that we have given you right now, rather than us being on board and always bring up new ideas and not just once a year.
Okay, thank you so much. Please make sure when you come, you fully state your name, because we are recording and we can't record unless we know your name. We have Honorable Musoke Martins. Honorable, please go on.
Who talked of elections, monetization. I happen to have observed elections in the Rwenzori region and Kasese. I noted that in the previous years, I've noted that there is high level of monetization. You need to have a lot of money. Actually, like in Kasese, you cannot contest on a position of an MP if you do not have, say, a minimum of 100 million shillings.
Abuse cases that were reported even in these camps where people were put for refuge. So it is unfortunate that some of these cases, when they are reported to police, still the offenders collide with police to say that they get out of maybe the cells, and they compromise the life of the young people. So it is my humble appeal that we really look into seriously about this issue, and I hereby second a motion that has been raised by Lynette to make sure that at least we discuss it exhaustively and have our young girls relieved. Not only the young girls, but even the young boys who have also been abused. Like in this pandemic, there are so many families that have gone hungry. The government gave out food, but it never reached some families. So there are some parents who sent out the young girls to go and get some men and get something to eat. So we are really living in a situation that is devastating. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes. Team, please prepare.
Thank you so much. Right Honorable Speaker. Sustainable Development Goals, and I happen to coordinate Kigezi sub-region. I rise to second this motion brought up by Lynette Nanyonjo because, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to let you know that in Kabale District, specifically Kabale District, during the COVID-19 period, 8 girls had been married off and 5 impregnated. That was a report that was given by the probation officer. However, this information was put on social media by one of the radio stations. And when I scrolled to read the comments, many reports were actually not captured by the probation officer. But what could be the challenge? How come she couldn't reach as many? Because those were like, you would find many people reporting, oh, there are 10 people, there are 10 girls this side, 10 girls the other side. But all this information wasn't captured because they lacked enough resources to go and reach in every community. And Right Honorable Speaker, this was just Kabale, and Kigezi region has a more, it is Kanungu, Kisoro, Kabale, Ruchiga, and Rwanda districts. So I really support this motion because young girls need us. We need to reach to the grassroots and make sure we support them in one way or the other. Before I leave, actually, there was one young girl, 16 years old. She dropped a baby in the pit latrine during the COVID-19 period. This was also captured on the news, but no one made follow-ups. No one reached out to find out what went wrong, what happened. So I think this is one of the most important motions we need to put up, and we see how we can help these young girls. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes. I believe that the government itself has to come up with stringent laws and legislation on sexual abuse cases, because if you realize how these cases have been handled, it is actually a shame to the government. Most of the people who speak out and they have been sexually abused do not get justice as it is supposed to be.
I honor the presence of the right honorable speakers around. One of the reasons why the cases are increasing is because the voices and the voices of the women and the girls are underlooked during such emergencies. When a woman goes and reports that this has happened, the voices are underlooked by those people in those offices. So what is needed of the government is to respect and evolve the voices of the women and the girls who have been found to be the key factors in addressing violence against the women, because it's those women and the girls who know best the challenges, but also it's those people who know the solution. I'd like to respect it.
Thank you so much. I'm going to welcome the move of the motion because we are time bad. We need to. Information allowed. Move of the motion, please take the podium.
All right, thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Now, this motion that has been tabled by the Honorable Nanyonjo is key, Right Honorable Speaker, and we should not take it lightly. We should not take it lightly. I know we are time bad and want to rush through it, but we should not take it lightly. Why? Because it is an indicator, it's a symptom of a much bigger problem. And this problem, Right Honorable Speaker, springs from our societal fabric. How do we look at women? How do you look at young women? How do you look at girls? Because it's not a question of them dropping out or being pregnant. No, it is an indicator of something that is much bigger and goes back to the question of patriarchy and the war for the empowerment of women. But to conclude this, Right Honorable Speaker, I have a few considerations that we need to put into light in this particular Honorable House. Firstly, Right Honorable Speaker, about 2 weeks ago, there was a documentary that was made by a particular media house here and another media house in Kenya, particularly indicating that about 150 girls in a space of 3 months were trafficked from Soroti, particularly Karamajong girls, to Kenya. And what are they doing? They're being exploited sexually, and the government is not saying a thing about it. You see, there's even a documentary showing that for you to get a girl and take her to wherever you want, she costs, and I regret to use this language, but that was the language that was used, about 50,000. Not even a goat costs that little. You see, but a human being at 50,000. But secondly, Honorable Speaker, the question of sexual and reproductive health. That how come when the government was trying to curb the AIDS surge in this country, it took on the ABC and particularly even provided condoms free of charge in many health facilities, even to the grassroots. But how come to date we are still grappling with providing free sanitary towels to these girls? Yet, of the two discussions, one is a choice, the other is not. You can choose to engage sexually or not, but you can't choose or not to choose to have that monthly cycle. It's not in your position as a woman, you see? But why are we being called? Because we are men, because we don't care? I think that's injustice. But secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, we need to look at the question basically of how we can curb sexual harassment. That yes, the legal framework as per now is perfect on paper, but implementation, right? So I understand before the National Parliament, there is the Sexual Offences Bill, right? So can we pursue that bill to see that it can supplement the penal code on see that we protect our women? Because once you educate a woman, you've educated a nation.
But conclusively, Right Honourable Speaker, we need to also resuscitate the children and family units at the local police stations. That when these girls are being harassed, before it, before it's exaggerated, can they have a platform to express what exactly they're going through? And also, lastly, we cannot underestimate the value of civic engagement. We can't do that because we've seen lately that because of the lockdown, we've seen teenage pregnancies increase. And now initiatives have been introduced on TV to educate people. No, you don't have to beat the woman. No, you don't have to subject this child to an early marriage because you're destroying her future. But can we then do that under normal circumstances, not only in a lockdown? So that in itself, Mr. Speaker, is what I think should be discussed from the basics. I beg to submit. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Nanyonjo.
Honorable Speaker, much has been said, and I think this is a motion that should be discussed to the roots. My humble prayer is that this Honorable House puts in regards the right to life and protect this young nation protect this young nation and all the individuals of this nation. It is the obligation of the state to protect its citizens. And by discussing this, we are protecting our young girls and male children too from sexual harassment and sexual exploitation. I beg this house, this humble house, to take this motion and put it forward to the honorable house, to the other honorable houses, and all the individuals that need to be in touch with this conversation so that we can protect our female and male children from sexual harassment.
Thank you so much. I therefore put it to the House on whether we should actually adopt the resolution of this motion. Those in favor, say aye with your hand up. At the end of the day, majority counts. Clerk?
Motion on the fate of learners and students amidst the COVID-19 pandemic by Honorable Ezra Byakutangaza from Kiryandongo constituency.
Thank you. The Zoom team, please, we want to have these people engaged in the discussion. So if there's anyone who is willing to discuss and submit, make sure you forward their names.
Right Honorable Speaker, the chairperson of the National Youth Council is out of here. The different dignitaries, fellow youth present physically and virtually, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ezra Byakutangaza, the president of the Uganda National Students Association and the acting guild president of Makerere University. I rise to move a motion for this house to discuss on the fate of learners and students amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, as you may be aware that at the eve of this pandemic in our country, on the 18th of March, the Fountain of Honor, the President of the Republic of Uganda, announced the immediate closure of institutions of learning, the 20th of March. And it's been close to 4 months of 15 million Ugandans in their homes, either idle or otherwise, but of course idle. Colleagues, as the National Executive Committee of the Uganda National Students Association, just after a month, we noticed that students were starving because a number of students were caught up by the lockdown, the total lockdown, and remained in their places of residence, in hostels and rentals. It's upon that background that the student leadership started a campaign on mobilizing relief food for the students. We are glad that a number of partners, including government as a key partner, supported the campaign, and a number of students who were caught up in their places of residence, in hostels and rentals, we came to their rescue. But in the same regard, we noticed that the education system is not about to remain the same after the pandemic. Now, as we continue to celebrate belatedly the International Youth Day, we cannot afford to ignore or underlook the impact of the education system to materialize the theme under which the International Youth Day was celebrated: the inclusion, the youth engagement for global action. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's agreeable to us all that if not for anything, our education system in Africa, specifically Uganda, has drained the youth backward in regards to fast-tracking their engagement in socio-economic development. Colleagues, it's not any different after the pandemic. It is even going to be worse. We have noticed that the 15 million Ugandans, not excluding the primary population, have been exposed to a number of challenges, including forced marriage, teenage pregnancy, unemployment, which has made it easier for young people to get involved in crime, not as choice, but as a means of survival. Colleagues, overly, we have seen the National Council of Higher Education and the Ministry of Education and the head of state as well, agitating and imploring Ugandans and institutions of higher learning to adopt distance learning, and in other words, electronic learning. Colleagues, I must note that the Uganda National Students Association has noted with concern that it even requires a month or so for the oldest university, Makerere University, to prepare. So how much more does an institution in Kebarimaido, one of the districts in the Karamoja region, how much more time does an institution like Chiriandongo Technical Institute in my district require to prepare infrastructure? And how much is the cost implication? In any case, is it...
Honorable Ezra, your time is out.
Just as I conclude. Right Honorable Speaker, I thought it was wise to give the background. So just a minute, Right Honorable Speaker, so that I can conclude the background of this motion and move it. Colleagues, with all this happening and all these concerns, we are glad that the student leadership has been engaged on a few occasions to contribute on policy. But I think the engagement is not enough. I therefore move a motion that this House considers discussion on the fate of learners and students amidst this pandemic, if we must be engaged for global action. Of course, not forgetting that 70% of the 15 million Ugandans lie in the range of 18 and 30. Thank you very much. I move the motion, Right Honorable Speaker.
Those who second the motion, just put your hand up, and then we directly go for debate. Yes. Submission. Motion is seconded. We have Jacob Beyeru on Honorable Jacob Beyeru on Zoom. Can we get him? Please do. He's on Zoom. Honorable Jacob Beyeru.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for steering the House with wisdom. I am Jacob Beyeru from Soroti. And first, Honorable Speaker, I would like to, with your permission, beg for correction of my brother, His Excellency Ezra Byakutangaza. The people of Kaberamaido are not in Karamoja. The people of Kaberamaido are from Teso sub-region, and it's rather unfortunate that the UNSA president wouldn't know that. But that said, he presents motion is the fate of land. Mr. Speaker, sir, I will be able to say very quickly two things. The first thing is that the pandemic has offered us the opportunity to review how learning is done in this country. As young people and indeed young leaders, we must be able to now be able to advocate for an education that is inclusive, that can withstand the challenges that require technology. And I say this because the race to the future is a race of technology. If the education ministry and the education institutions cannot integrate the usage of education, technology in education, then we may not be a part of those that are progressive in the world. My second point is with regard to safety. Indeed, even though we are very well aware that there is a raging pandemic, and as a young country, we need to protect our labor force that is coming through the education sector, we can only do so insofar as we are able to have some safety. I believe that if the people that attend school cannot adhere to safety precautions, and by this we mean the basics. The first is wearing a mask. I think that if it can be put as part of a school uniform and enforced, then we needn't keep young people out of school for that long because they're anyway used to enforcement. If the young learners cannot be the example to the country, then we are saying the whole country cannot be a mess. So I think we have the opportunity to put young people who are in schools and universities at the forefront of showing the example to the country that when you wear your mask, you stay safe and we go back to school. Otherwise, the race is twofold: safety and technology, without which education would be a dead cause in this country. I beg to submit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Jacob Beyeru. Submission, yes. And then we will come to the Honorable Lady.
Thank you once again, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Daniel Olara from Gulu East constituency. I am a member of parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, education, we've been saying that it's the key to success. However, in the face of a pandemic, it takes some shape. The mover of this motion already mentioned a number of issues that has come up due to the closure of schools and during this pandemic: forced marriage, teenage pregnancy, unemployment, and the rest. The question that I want to pose to this house is, how will Uganda look without education? The continuous closure of schools, ladies and gentlemen, is a problem to this country. If I am to remember, 2 weeks ago, Right Honorable Speaker, there has been statistics running over different media of how girls have been impregnated during this period of lockdown. Why? Because school acted as a safe space for these girls. Secondly, ladies and gentlemen, in picking from where Jacob Eyero has just said, I think schools are a more organized places than the markets, which are already opened. And ladies and gentlemen, I think to some extent, the government is not looking at that dimension of schools spearheading the guidelines that have been given. I think schools can more observe these precautions than the market. For example, do you know how many people goes to church? And do you know how many people goes to the market? Is there sanitizing in every stall of the market? How many exchanges of money happens in the market?
Honorable, your time is out.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me summarize in just 1 minute. I think the government has to come up with another proper way of handling education. Because I think if we deprive the children, the students in school now, I have not touched about the finalists. That is another biggest problem. If I had time, I would have expounded on that. But I think the government has to find another alternative of bringing back education on board, whereas the country also runs, but protective of the pandemic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes, Honorable Lady. I think the government also needs to look at the aspect of these girls who have actually become pregnant because of the pandemic. Are they going to be allowed to go back to school? School was the only safest place for them, but they are now pregnant because of conditions that they could not actually have solved. So are these schools going to allow them to go back to school and actually study? And if not, then what's the way forward for them?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Gloria Tim from Kapchora. I come from one of the most vulnerable districts in the country. And as we talk right now, things are moving the other direction because things are not really good about our education. To me, I think government should really reconsider the fate of education in our country because to me, I think COVID has come to stay. It is not going to go very soon because the vaccine is going to be discovered maybe after a year or past a year. So it is important that we incorporate education to run as other systems are running, because if parliamentary sessions can run, then how difficult is it for government to open schools and maintain the same SOPs put together by the Ministry of Health to see that things run on well in the government? As earlier on hinted, you see, everyone has a right to education, and practically government is putting down the rights of education. People are not getting it the way it's supposed to be done, because trust me, we are going to have a lot of congestions. Those that are supposed to have been passed out to the next levels have not been passed out, and now there will be a lot packed on by the teachers, by the students, and nothing is going to go on well. Then, as the earlier on Honorable Olarad hinted on,
Honorable, your time is out.
Yes, thank you. Let me just summarize.
Please summarize.
If you look at how congested the streets that we have in Uganda today are, I think education should really, really be put back, because as a parent, as a sister, as a brother, you know somebody out there really needs this. As a girl child, people lose interest so fast. You overleave a girl child out of track, they will fall off track. So let's fight to have education.
Thank you. We are going to have two, Honorable Howard and him. And please conclude in a minute. The move of the motion should be here.
The Honorable Speaker, for the record, I remain Honorable Court Gabriel Olua.
Excuse me. The move of the motion, please take the podium. Yes?
Yeah, before I was interrupted by the Honorable Speaker. I rise to inform the House that much as the country needs education, we are not considering that in schools we have young children who cannot take care and who cannot follow the SOPs as stated by the ministry, as compared to the churches and the marketplaces that the Honorable Lara and my Honorable colleague talked about. To me, I'm suggesting maybe a way that the government can come in through the adoption of, apparently the country is undertaking online studies. Maybe that is what we can adopt best for now, because we cannot risk the life of the young children that we have out of the context of the youth, definitely, who cannot manage to protect themselves, because as we are aware, children under 5 cannot wear masks.
Honorable, your time is out. All points denied. Your time is out. Honorable Howard, you're being replaced by Honorable Kobusinje Masi, who is attending on Zoom. We are just giving her a chance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 30 seconds granted as we will come Honorable Mercy online. Is attending via Zoom, then we conclude.
Mr. Speaker, I'll make it 29 seconds. So, right Honorable Speaker, this is the concentration that if we are saying that schools are a safe space for these girls, that means that we are hiding them from something, right? So what is that we're hiding them from? How about we indulge what we're hiding them from, because they won't be in school forever, right? So we need to also address that. But also lastly, it's a question of safety and education, right? So I think that we need to be very realistic. Do we want to take our children to school to die? No. We need to do, I mean, the government is doing a feasibility test are due in September, right? So let's wait and see the results, and then we can see how to engage on it.
Thank you. Honorable Maseko Sinje, then we conclude.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I hope I'm clear.
Clear, you're clear.
My reaction goes to the speaker that just talked about online education. The question is, if we are not taking these kids to school because they cannot sustain something like social distancing, are we going to maintain a 5-year-old watching a teacher speaking? And secondly, it took me almost an hour to connect. The internet connection, we must agree, in Uganda is not yet to the standard of education. And while, yes, we are looking at the safety, I bet Uganda also needs to start looking at a way of living with the infection, which is what I think is happening right now. I request, and I think the best thing that the students right now can do is to keep calm and trust that the Ministry of Education is actually trying to do everything that is feasible enough for us to go back to school. Because the reason why they opened taxis and all those things was because they were trying to live with it. They were trying to see a way how...
Thank you, Mercy. Thank you, Mercy. Please state your prayers.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The question is the pandemic about to go? Of course not. My prayers to this House are to recommend phased reopening of institutions of higher learning. Number 2 is to consider funding of institutions of learning in preparation of e-learning for effectiveness. Number 3 is to consider funding of economically disadvantaged and vulnerable students. Number 4, this is not a prayer, but I want to apologize to the Honorable Reru that it was just a slip of the tongue, but I actually know that Kaberamaido is in Teso region.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I put it to the House. Those in favor of the resolution, adopt or not, if you're in favor, please say aye. If you're in favor, please say aye. Those who are against, because we seem not to have the numbers. Those for the motion say aye. Okay? The ayes, of course, take it. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a good parliament. We are adjourned for now, and thank you all for attending. Let's welcome the team, the organizers.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Because we are going off air very soon, for those who are watching this very important youth session in Parliament, abroad and within Uganda, on behalf of the organizers, these are the words we would want to have for you. First, a round of recognition. We had we had our Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, Honorable Nachiwala. She was here. We thank her for coming. We also have got other dignitaries, including all the structures of the National Youth Council. We have the Secretary for Student Affairs who has also come, is in here. In the spirit of partnership that we are, I come from ActionAid. I'm called Henry Nixon Ogwal, Director for Programs. We would want to really thank very much the Right Honorable Speaker of the third Parliament, Young People's Parliament. Can we clap for him? Thank you very much, sir, for effectively taking control of the House and ensuring that the processes are professional within that short time that you were inducted. Secondly, the honorable members of the House, physically here and online, can you clap for yourselves? Those online, put your e-clap online in Zoom. Then the parliamentary staff, the parliamentary staff are here on ground, the Parliament of Uganda. I request you to stand up for recognition. Please, the parliamentary staff, can you stand up? I see Mr. Okwi there, and these are very professional people who run the August House of Parliament to sustain itself from one parliament to another. Thank you very much for building the capacity of our young people. And we know we will still be there to trust in your work, all the clerk and other members. The partners, I cannot now have time to mention you. You are many, and the funders, DGF, Ford Foundation, EU, and all others. Thank you very much indeed. Most importantly, I would like to thank very much the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga. She stayed online waiting to talk to you and to give the powers that she actually gave of the National Assembly here. This is Uganda's parliament today, with our approval totally that you have it there. Right Honorable Speaker Rebecca Kadaga, we thank you for your dedication to building a vibrant youth leadership in this country, and even supporting them up to the East African Legislative Assembly whenever requested. The second round is actually to give very quick observation of what we saw here as supporters of the young people. You were debating, you were not arguing. May the older MPs take this from you. That is very important. Secondly, there were very serious presentations of national issues here with good recommendations that has been put onto handset. We move that the parliament really discusses and take your recommendations forward.